Here with head coach Blaine McCorkle as the Demons get ready for the season finale down at Houston Christian. And Coach, before we get there, we'll talk about this past week and against McNeese. And I think again it was kind of a very similar story to what we've seen. There've been moments, and then the attrition just seems to hit. But even within then, there's still some positives you continue to pull out in a game like that.
Yeah, there is. I mean, I think we started the game pretty well, and as happens, with where we are, it's no secret right now. You said the attrition hits. The attrition hits hard when it hits. The age, the youth, the injuries, all those things start to mount up when you're playing against a more seasoned, more veteran, more physically ready team. And those are all things that are frustrating in the moment, but are fixable, as these kids get a little bit older and have time in the weight room and do those things. As this thing winds down, the off season hits. Those are things that we can go to work and correct. But you're one of these things. You kind of have to play the hand you're dealt, and that's where we are. And our kids they're continuing to fight hard and work and do what we're asking them to do. They're just doing it with a little bit of a short stick right now. So that's where some of those things mount up. But they don't question any of their efforts or their toughness or anything like that. So we just got to keep working and trying to get better every day.
I think you said it after Saturday's game. If you have to coach effort, that's when you have a problem.
That's right. Yeah, and effort is, that's rule number one. We play hard. That's what we're going to do. And I think sometimes people get confused between toughness and talent. These kids are tough. They're tough and they're resilient and they're out there playing hard. And some people don't necessarily know how to differentiate the two sometimes. But as far as the toughness and the effort piece, I couldn't be prouder of what these kids are giving us.
You got 8 seniors. We talked about it. They had senior day last weekend. It will be the final game of their careers, and we touched on it a little bit. So how proud you are, how impressed you are with them to have stuck through it. And you got guys that have been here for 5 and 6 years. Scotty Robelo is a guy that comes to mind that's been through just about everything he can since the fall of 2019 here.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered with history and all that thing, and I know we keep talking about it, but that's just where we are. It's really amazing that we have any seniors, because it would have been real easy for all those guys to bail out of here last year like 40-plus other guys did. So I really give the seniors that stayed a lot of credit for doing so, for believing in something a little bit bigger than themselves and wanting to be at Northwestern State. And Scotty is one of those guys. He has been here a long time, and he's really persevered. And, he really didn't come on for us till later this year because he was overcoming an injury that took him some time. And, so through the spring and summer, we really didn't get to see what he was. And I know he was frustrated, and those things are hard, especially for a kicker at that position when what you're doing is so specialized. But once he felt comfortable and is healthy enough, he's really been great for our program and helped us out a lot. And hopefully he'll have a big finish this week. But real proud of Scotty's toughness and perseverance and what he's done.
Seems to be rounding into form a little bit. Had some really big boots off that left foot the last couple of weeks.
He really has. He's got a big-time leg. There's no doubt about it. And you do feel bad for a guy like Scotty sometimes that the injuries have nagged him and he hasn't been able to showcase that the way that I know he would like to, because there's no doubt had he been healthy all the way through, he is a top-level, postseason honor-worthy player who just hasn't had the opportunities, of no fault of his own. So, but we're excited we got him for one more, and we're going to try to take advantage of him.
For you, as you head down to Houston Christian, there's not a lot of history necessarily for a conference team. I believe just 6 meetings. But there's some history between you and HCU's head coach. Just history, nothing malicious, just a competitive history between you and Jason Bechtel.
Yeah, sure. Nothing but respect for Coach Bechtel and what he's doing there at Houston Christian and what he did at Howard Payne. He was at Howard Payne the same time I was at Belhaven, and the two of us faced each other head-to-head a couple times and had some great games, and it was a fun rivalry, I think, for both of our teams, and both of us, came into those games with really good teams and had some great battles, and I'm sure we'll have a great battle again this week. And it's been kind of fun to have somebody, in the conference kind of go along the same journey, leaving the same conference, moving up a couple levels and, kind of going through this thing together. So it's been fun to, get on the phone every now and then, bounce some ideas, whatever. But he's doing a great job, and you can kind of see his thumbprint all over that program. And his kids are well coached. They played hard. They know what they're doing. And I'm sure he'll have a good run in his time there at Houston Christian.
The one thing that's kind of hard, and maybe you can talk to him next time you talk to him and ask him who his team is, because they've had some really good wins and they've had some, I don't know if puzzling is the right word, but maybe unexpected losses.
Yeah, I think that's part of the growing process for all of us. He's a first-year head coach there, and he's taken over a team that had a decent year a year ago. I think the first winning season in school history came for them a year ago, after they've been playing since, I think, 2012, 13, something like that. So that's a pretty good drought to get that thing going. So they, in a lot of ways, are still in the growing and building process too. have that first winning season, then the head coach leaves, and you got to put your own stamp on it. And with that, players come and go naturally. So, yeah, they've had some interesting losses, and they've had some really, really good signature wins. You know, they beat both Nichols and McNeese both. You beat both those two teams in the same year, you're doing something. So they're very, very capable, and we'll definitely have to be ready.
Your first trip down to HCU, but not necessarily as unique a venue for yourself, just because of where you coached earlier in your career.
Yeah, they got the one-sided stadium, like I've mentioned before. You know, been in those at Western Kentucky, Murray State, things like that. And then my time in Division III football, you see all kind of venues. I promise you that. I mean, there's some places that are really uniquely designed and put together and create some interesting atmospheres. But Houston Christian's got a nice one-sided stadium there, so you got CVS there behind us. So if our trainers need something, I'm sure they can go grab it. But it's a good setup. And, you know, at the end of the day, the field's 100 yards long and 53 to 30 yards wide, and we'll show up to play, and so will they. And I'm sure they'll be excited. You know, it'll be senior day, so I'm sure they'll have a good senior day crowd there, and they'll want to try to send those guys out in style, I'm sure. So we'll definitely need to be ready for that.
Coach, as always, appreciate your time.
Thank you.